Well, welcome once again to my program. Always a pleasure to have you out there in the audience, and always a pleasure to be here in the studio. I have a guest that I'm going to get to in a moment. But first of all, I want to read out my legal tip of the week. And this is somewhat appropriate for politicians, basically. But it's a legal piece of advice. And this came out of the, I'm going to read this thing, and it basically says that although Hillary Clinton was the focus of the email-related brouhaha last year, similar controversies have been playing out in local governments across the country, as other public employees, that's our politicians included, use private email accounts to circumvent, quote, sunshine laws, unquote, that mandate open meetings. This questionable use of email to discuss governmental business comes as a Freedom of Information advocates stress the continued need for transparency and accountability in government, as well as vigilant application of open records and open meeting laws. As federal appeals court judge Damon Keat famously wrote in 2002, democracies die behind closed doors. The need for transparency is thwarted, open records advocates say, when government officials conduct public business on private emails and then claim public records laws don't apply to such communications. However, in recent months, an Illinois Attorney General opinion and a federal appeals court opinion from the District of Columbia have declared that government officials cannot evade the requirements and broad purposes of Freedom of Information laws simply by claiming anything on private email accounts or servers is exempt from the reach of public records laws. Well, Gabe Andrade, school committee man, what do you think of that?
Well, it's very interesting. It's a question of where you draw the line, I suppose. But the open meeting law is obviously in effect in Massachusetts. Although interestingly enough, it is not. It does not apply to the legislature. So. What we are required to do.
Back rooms, drink whiskey,
absolutely,
cigars,
they are exempt from the open meeting law in Boston at the State House. Yeah. But local governments are very much susceptible to the open meeting law.
Well, so. You know why? Because they know you might misappropriate $500.
Right, but the state legislature would never do that.
There could be $5 million up there.
or more.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So they're not subject to
they are not.
meeting law.
That's you look it up.
No, I believe you. Well, it's a state law, correct?
The open meeting law is a state law, but the state government is exempt from it.
They passed the law, but not.
That's correct. It seems hypocritical, but.
Well, I'm going to keep that in mind. That's something. Well, this is election year, and school committee people, city councilors, and the mayor are all up for re-election.
Correct.
And I had Richard Cabasiris on my show last week, who's a city councilor, and shortly thereafter, what was it, a Friday or Saturday night?
It was Saturday, as a matter of fact, Saturday afternoon.
Oh, he had a function in the afternoon function?
It was a 1 o'clock event.
Announced he's running for the mayor's office. Now, he's a first-term city councilor.
Correct.
So I guess, what do you think he might be thinking, that the mayor is vulnerable, or do it when...
I would assume that he must feel that the mayor is somehow vulnerable. Otherwise, why run? I mean, there's some people who would run just out of principle, but I don't think Rich is running just out of principle. I think he feels he can win. Now, is that perception accurate? I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
What is he? What do you believe he thinks the vulnerabilities of this mayor are, or the mistakes this mayor has made?
I don't know. We've never really discussed it. He obviously thinks that his mistakes are going to come home to roost. I'm sure that he's talking about the issue with the DMC, privatizing the trash collection might be an Achilles heel for him.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because at the mayor called a special meeting. That's
correct. for the settlement.
And didn't have a quorum. It was actually you have to say it was boycotted by city councilors.
Right, and I'm not sure whether it was that particular issue or there were two issues that were discussed. I understand, but one of them apparently had to be decided that day.
Well, that was. According to the paper, the mayor called a special meeting because he wanted the contract cleared up with several unions.
Right.
Sean Condeem, who's the president of the city council, said he would not attend the meeting because he felt that he was given short notice. And I guess there were a number of city councilors. I think there was only 3 that might have shown up. That was Linda Pereira, was it Councilor Long, and maybe one other. So it wasn't held.
That wasn't even close to a quorum.
Now, do you think that was a real slap in the face to the mayor? Or do you think they had a legitimate reason for not being there?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, you're certainly not, I'm not going to cast any aspersions on any of these people. I mean, it seemed to have been short notice, so it's certainly possible that some of them could have had commitments for that particular time frame.
Well, it seems that they didn't have enough time to go over what the mayor was proposing on the agenda for that special meeting. And some of them said that this has happened before, and it doesn't bode well with them because it looks as though they didn't do their homework.
That's true. You can either railroad a particular decision through, not being fully aware of all the ramifications of that decision, or you simply complain that that they didn't have enough time to study it. But so I don't know. Maybe they boycotted it. Maybe they didn't. When only 3 out of 9 show up, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, it wouldn't seem that they all had something else to do.
Right. I mean, it's possible, but 3 out of 9.
Yeah, and the president of the council said he would not be there. I think he said that beforehand.
Yeah.
So maybe that was a signal to the others. You can show up or not. So now you have the school committee race.
Correct.
How many members on the school committee?
6. And the mayor is the ex officio chairman of the committee. So.
And all 6 are going to be running. Is that correct?
Well,
I'm saying all 6. No, there's a whole
they're all
6
up
positions are up.
They're all up for election.
To be filled.
Yes.
So maybe not all of them will run again?
Well, I can tell you for certain that I will not be running. But the news should be out very soon, and actually the fact that I just told you today, I'm sure some more people will be aware of it. But I will not be running. There's a rumor that possibly someone else may not be running for re-election also.
Okay, it's a rumor.
Well, the person has not substantiated it officially yet.
So there's going to be 1 open seat and possibly 2.
Possibly 2.
So that'll make it interesting in the sense that people who were thinking of running for the city, for the school committee will actually have a chance.
That's correct,
open
and I
seat.
think a lot of candidates do look at that as an incentive. Running against 6 incumbents can be very difficult, but having an open seat or more than one open seat actually gives you the incentive that you might be able to win.
Well, I guess there'll be an open seat on the city council unless...
Oh, with Richard Cabaceres.
Unless he doesn't go forward. 'Cause
Right.
He's got to file those papers.
That's correct.
You know, he announced, but a month or two from now, he might have a change of heart and say, well, I'm not going to go forward with it for some reason, and just, you know, try to hold his city council
He
seat.
could do that. I don't expect him to, but he certainly could do that.
Yeah, that would be something that usually does not happen. So that city council, do you know of anybody? Well, I ran into someone who is running for city council, and his name is Springer.
Yes. Jason Springer, I believe.
So he told me he's running, and he's been invited on the program. And when he told me that, I mentioned to someone else that, wow, we had a Springer that was on the city council years ago.
That's correct. It was city council.
Yeah,
he was a young, Dave Springer. He was relatively young at the time.
I think he was the youngest ever.
You may be right. And the city council is unusual. I was just talking to a young man who was running for, who told me he was running for the school committee at Richard Cabaceres' event on Saturday. That the school committee usually has a place for a young candidate. You often see a young candidate make it on the school committee more often. Very rarely on the city council, but
Well,
Springer definitely was a young guy years back.
You'll have to mention that to William Flanagan, because he ran twice for the school committee, and he was young.
That's correct.
And he didn't make it.
And lo and behold, he runs for mayor and he wins.
Becomes mayor. So
that was unusual. You don't often see that.
yeah. Well, this is talking about the mayor. The state representatives won't be running this year
No,
because
it'll be the following
they
year.
always run on the odd year or the opposite year. But I guess what's going to be, or what is interesting about this mayor's race, and that Richard Cabaceres has decided to run for the position, is that we've had a string of mayors in a short period of time.
Yeah, that's true.
We had Lambert for what, almost 11 or 12 years?
Well, at least 12, between 12 and 13. So it was at least a good 12.
Yeah, and some of the others were there for a while, at least, you know. But starting with Bob Correa, he got one term, and he didn't even make the primary in his second try.
That's correct.
Flanagan was the one who actually won out against Kathy Amber-Burris, because Bob Correa didn't make the primary. We had Flanagan, Kathy Amber-Burris. Flanagan wins. He gets one term. In the second term, he gets recalled.
Well, actually, he did have 2 full terms.
Oh,
and then he had a 3rd term, and it was in the middle of the 3rd term that he was recalled.
Okay.
So he actually had 5 years as mayor.
Okay. All right. So he wasn't really that.
No, it wasn't. It was a fairly decent run.
Yeah, but the recall was, you know, something that quite unusual.
Very unusual.
And of course, as we know, he lost to Sam Sutter. So, and then he was out in a short period of time to J.Z. Correa, and now J.Z. Correa has a competent person running as a competitor. So it'll be interesting, and I guess we'll eventually find out who the others that might run. So, what else do you have to tell us today?
Well,
How's the school department?
the school department, so far, I can't complain. It's it seems like the committee and the superintendent are on the same page more often than not. We work cooperatively. This has been a very good committee, I think, to work with. The superintendent, I feel, has brought a lot of experience to the task. You know, having been superintendent in 3 other places before, and he does communicate well with us. He asks our opinion. He does communicate everything that he does, and you know, I like that. He's been very good to work with.
What about the new Durfee building? Is that moved in any direction?
It moves slowly. It's still in progress. The next step is the feasibility study. They have to check not only the current site, but they're supposed to be looking at alternate sites and trying to get together an idea for how to go about the project and try to nail down an approximate cost of the project. So.
Well, the superintendent came before the South End neighborhood meeting and basically revealed that it would cost the city. He was saying that the total cost for the new school could be $200 million.
Ooh.
Yeah, that took a lot of people in the audience aback, you might say. And he said that the city of Fall River would be liable for 20%.
That's correct.
And I said to him, I says, you mean, that's $40 million?
That's correct.
And he said, it could be more.
Right, because the state is not funding everything that goes into the new school.
So, I guess the question is, the 40 to 50 million, I would think would have to go before the voters.
That's a good question. I know that there'd been laws in the past. It's been liberalized a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There was a talk about one situation where it would have to go to a vote is what is called a debt exclusion, and that would be where people would have to vote to increase their taxes temporarily so that they could pay for the amount that 20% or more that would have to go toward that new school. So that definitely would require a vote. However, you're probably talking about a situation where there's a certain level of debt that the people would have to approve. And
well,
I'm not
usually
absolutely
if you
sure
bond over a certain amount.
That's correct, and I'm not sure what the amount would be. Or 40 million sounds like it might be.
Oh, it's definitely over.
That point.
I think that the amount now could be 10 million.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You're probably right. I remember where they had a very tight situation years back, which was changed. It was so low that when they built the Henry Lord School, the new Henry Lord, and it was also put on the addition on the Doran School, they actually had to have a vote. It was something like it was 5 million or less. It was a very, very small amount. That's when John Carrero was superintendent.
But 40 million, 50 million.
It may be that they still have, and I'm not sure. I haven't heard of it, but I think that they did have a cap at some point also. Yeah,
that 40 or 50 million. If there is a cap, that's well beyond.
I would think that it would be.
Yeah, because it would never go to the voters. Anything. Well, I'm going to have, and I don't have the date in front of me. It's either next week or the week after. I'll have the superintendent from Diamond.
Tom Morgan.
Yeah, he's coming on, and I think what our main topic is going to be is trying to get or explaining why Diamond is having great difficulty trying to expand its facility. That it seems that the state, Diamond has put in an application many times, or a number of times, and never has been approved for money to expand the school, which is a problem because, as you know, you were on a school
Correct.
committee at Diamond. Diamond receives many more applicants than it can have at the school because of space
Correct.
limitations, and the number of students that apply, approximately what, maybe 200 of them are turned away?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, probably. It's really become a very popular school in this particular area, and yes, a number of people are turned away.
Well, vocational education, to build anything, I mean, you need the skilled craftsmen, the welders, the carpenters,
Right.
plumbers, electricians, and the country needs a lot more.
That's true, but there's something interesting also that a lot of people aren't aware of in terms of, why people, some people apply there. There are a number of people who apply to a vocational school, and specifically to Diamond, less because of the vocational education than for the fact that it is a smaller school, a manageable school, a school that has a very tight on discipline, and so that a school where the child is not going to fall through the cracks, generally speaking. So there are a number of students who go there less for voc ed than for the fact that it's a safe school and whatnot. The number of kids from Diamond who go to college are there's a fairly good percentage. I don't know what it is. Tom would probably know, but who go to college.
Well, the ones who come here after Diamond, the BCC,
Right.
apparently when they graduate, there's a high percentage of Diamond graduates at the top of the graduating class.
Right.
Academically, they do very well.
Right. So the point is that we're probably getting fewer skilled craftsmen than we might want, because many of these students are choosing to go on to other studies and other professions.
Well, and sometimes they go on to get some engineering courses.
Right. Even if you look
higher
at
technical type.
that's true. Particularly from certain programs, like for instance, I forget the shop. Not metal fab. Machine shop. Machine shop graduates, electricity graduates, often do gravitate toward engineering.
Yeah. I was at a function, and I spoke to this woman that we went to the same law school. That's how the conversation started. She tells me she's a teacher at New Bedford Voc.
Yes.
And she told me that she is teaching criminal justice, a full-time course
Right.
at New Bedford Voc in criminal justice. That took me a bit by surprise, because it doesn't fit, the way I think, into a vocational
Right,
program.
but if you look at the trends, the voc ed schools have been looked at more as a high school, where kids will go on to college. So there's been a push to introduce foreign languages at some of the vocational schools. So it's blurred. The lines between a school like Diamond and a school like Durfee have blurred somewhat.
I thought it was quite interesting, because someone graduating from the criminal justice program out of any high school, then going on to college and refining or getting greater exposure to those types of courses, etc., and maybe at the same time working for an attorney
Right, right.
or elsewhere, is a great avenue or path to go off to law school.
Yes, it could be.
I mean,
Yes.
they're going to be going into law school with, I mean, so much knowledge of what the courses are about in law school. So, does Diamond have any unusual programs that you might think of?
I don't think so. I'm not as you know, having left the committee, I'm not as familiar as I might have been some years back. But I don't think so. They might have. I don't know if they have put in some language courses or not. I know it's been talked about.
Well, you're on the Diamond Educational Foundation.
Correct.
I'm on the Diamond Educational Foundation, and the recent achievement of the foundation has been the, I guess you might say, the computerization of in the culinary arts
Correct, right.
area, so that things that are ordered and all the, you might say, the accounting now is done with a computer.
Right, and even the previous project, the first project that was done, which was the service center for the automotive, was an attempt to almost professionalize it and make it look like a real service center at some dealership.
Yeah.
So kids are actually getting a taste of what it would be like.
Now, and that project cost about $50,000.
The
The
service
automotive?
center, I think you're probably about right.
And that was, I don't know if the bulk of it was generated, you know, the money by the foundation or not, but that was a big expenditure.
Probably half of it, or at least half of it. And you were
And that's
speaking-
outside the school budget, which is...
That's correct. And you were talking about different programs that just occurred to me when we were talking about the foundation, the physics class that they were upgrading. That's, you know, upgrading the physics class to the point where they were getting a class, a very, very advanced program in physics. Is something that you wouldn't have had at a vocational school a few years back.
Yeah. Well, I did take physics. I think it's been part of the Diamond for a long time.
Right. But I think they were upgrading the
yeah.
program tremendously.
I mean, so much has been discovered since. And for what we're talking today about that program, 40, 50 years from now, it's going to be, you know, well, it looks like I'm getting a signal, and we're getting to the end of the program. So I want to thank my guest,
Thank you.
Gabe
Always a
Andrade,
pleasure.
school committee man. And out there, if you are thinking of running for office, you know someone that's running for office and they'd like to come on my program, have them contact me. I'd be very happy to have them come on and get an idea of what their plan is, why they want to run, etc. So, thank you out there for watching. Thank you, Gabe, for being on a program.
for
Gabe
having
will
me.
be back in 3 weeks, and I'll see you next week.